Welcome to Hero Villains. Thank you all for always following and supporting the channel. What do you think about Kratos versus He-Man? The battle between the ghost of mythology and the son of Castle Grayskull. There are heroes born from hope. There are warriors forged from pain. And then there are those who emerge from two completely opposite poles of power so that when they converge, the entire universe holds its breath. On one side is the Ghost of Sparta,
the one who single-handedly overthrew the entire temple of Olympus, destroyed destiny, and used his bare hands to snap the necks of gods, Kratos. On the other side is the most powerful man in the universe, a warrior blessed by the ancient magic of Castle Grayskull, a man who pushed the moon back into its proper orbit and lifted his own castle as though it were a pebble, He-Man. One fights with the bottomless rage of the past. The other fights with the pure strength of honor and righteousness.
When the blades of chaos clash with the sword of power, when the Spartan Breath faces the Roar of Grayskull, can magic truly submit before divinity? Can the power of an almighty being defeat the will of one who has already killed fate itself? This is the confrontation of two icons of supreme power, and the final answer will leave you stunned.
Now let us begin. Kratos, the Ghost of Sparta. To understand Kratos, you must understand pain. Born in the harsh city-state of Sparta, Kratos was no prince, nor was he a chosen one. He was a warrior, a young general with the ambition to conquer every battlefield. But that ambition led him to the edge of death, when the Spartan army was decimated by a northern barbarian horde. In the moment, a barbarian chieftain's blade pressed against his throat, Kratos let out a desperate prayer not to his father Zeus, but to the bloodthirsty god of war himself, Ares. The plea was answered. Ares granted Kratos a weapon of destruction. The Blades of Chaos, two blades fused to his flesh by burning chains, weapons that would forever remind him of his oath of loyalty to the god of war. But Ares did not simply want a soldier. He wanted a perfect engine of destruction. And on one fateful night, Ares tricked Kratos into slaughtering his own family, his wife and young daughter in an innocent village. Their ashes permanently clung to Kratos' skin, turning him into the Ghost of Sparta, a living curse he would carry for the rest of his life. From that moment on, Kratos' life had only one purpose: to atone through blood. He served the gods of Olympus for 10 years, hoping they would erase his nightmares. But when the goddess Athena revealed that his sins would be forgiven if he killed Ares, Kratos embarked on a quest to find Pandora's box, the only weapon capable of granting a mortal the power to bring down a god. The moment Kratos opened the box, he did not merely gain the strength to defeat Ares. He had become the new god of war of Olympus. But tragedy never loosened its grip on him. Betrayed by Zeus, stripped of his divine power, stabbed through the stomach by the blade of Olympus, a sword capable of killing titans, and thrown into the underworld, Kratos rose once more. With the aid of the goddess Gaia and the titans, he climbed back from the depths of hell, overcame the Sisters of Fate, personally altered the timeline, and faced Zeus himself at the summit of Olympus. Kratos did not merely kill Zeus, he annihilated the entire Greek pantheon. Poseidon had his neck broken, Hades was torn apart, Helios was decapitated, Hermes had his legs sawed off, Hercules had his face caved in, and in the end, even Gaia herself, the one who had helped him, was impaled through the heart when she betrayed him. Kratos is not simply a god. He is destruction packaged in the form of a man. He is living proof that fate, divinity, and even death can all be defeated by sheer will. And when Greece was nothing but ruins, Kratos left. He journeyed to the Norse lands, married Faye, had a son named Atreus, and tried to bury his past. But the past has never been able to bury Kratos. He faced Baldur, son of Odin, an immortal god, and snapped his neck with his bare hands. He slew the Valkyries, the mightiest warriors of Asgard. He confronted Thor and Odin themselves during Ragnarok, and once again stood upon the remains of fallen gods. What makes Kratos truly terrifying is not raw physical power. It is combat experience forged over thousands of years. through countless enemies ranging from monsters and heroes to supreme deities. He does not fight for honor, he fights to survive. And in desperation, no one is more dangerous than the Ghost of Sparta. Regarding strength, Kratos has withstood the crushing grip of Atlas the Titan, who holds the entire world upon his shoulders. He toppled the massive Colossus of Rhodes. He went hand to hand and broke the neck of Hercules, the demigod whose strength once held up the heavens. In the Norse world, he defeated Baldur, confirmed to be the strongest enemy Kratos had ever faced up to the events of God of War 2018 with his bare hands. He traded blows with Thor, a god whose strikes shook the world tree Yggdrasil itself. Regarding speed, Kratos is not merely a machine of muscle. He has dodged the lightning bolts of Zeus at close-range weapons calculated to travel from the peak of Olympus, standing approximately 14,000 kilometers high in the world of God of War, to Egypt in mere seconds. He reacted to Hermes, a god whose speed far exceeded that of sound, and ultimately caught him, severing his legs. Regarding durability, Kratos was stabbed through the stomach by the blade of Olympus, a sword capable of killing titans and thrown into the underworld. He survived and returned. He endured volcanic eruptions, withstood attacks from titans the size of mountains, and walked through deadly dimensions. He has died 3 times and escaped the underworld each time under his own power. Death simply cannot hold him. Kratos' arsenal is a collection of trophies taken from the gods. The Blades of Chaos. Athena are his iconic weapons, with wide attack range, wreathed in flames, and indestructible. The Leviathan axe carries the power of frost, capable of freezing enemies solid and returning to his hand like Mjolnir. The Blade of Olympus contains the very divine power Kratos held as the god of war, capable of unleashing god-level destructive attacks. He also possesses the head of Medusa to petrify enemies, the bow of Apollo for ranged attacks, and Spartan Rage, a state of fury that renders him nearly invulnerable while sending his strength skyrocketing. Experience. This is the factor most often overlooked. Kratos has lived through centuries of combat. He is a Spartan general trained from childhood, proficient in every form of weaponry. He is not merely strong, he is also cunning, knowing how to exploit weaknesses, use the environment to his advantage, and never surrender. His will is so powerful that he refused eternal peace in Elysium to continue fighting.
I sincerely hope you will subscribe to the channel. It would mean a great deal to us, and you are the most wonderful person. Thank you so very much.
If Kratos is the embodiment of darkness and tragedy, then He-Man is the pure light of classic heroism. Born as Prince Adam of the Kingdom of Eternia, this young man appeared to be nothing more than a gentle, somewhat clumsy nobleman. But that was the perfect cover for one of the most powerful beings ever to exist. When Adam raised the Sword of Power high and cried out the legendary incantation, "By the power of Grayskull, I have the power," he was transformed into He-Man. He-Man's strength does not come from genetics or years of training. It comes from Castle Grayskull itself, an ancient fortress containing the deepest magical secrets of the universe. The sorceress of Grayskull blessed Adam, transforming him into the champion destined to protect Eternia from the forces of darkness, particularly the wicked overlord Skeletor. He-Man is not merely strong. His title is the most powerful man in the universe, and that title is no exaggeration. Throughout the animated series, comics, and mini-comics, He-Man has demonstrated feats of strength that defy all logic. He pushed the entire moon of Eternia back into its orbit when it was knocked off course. He lifted the entirety of Castle Grayskull, a colossal fortress, and hurled it hundreds of miles away. He effortlessly moved mountains, and in certain versions, his strength is described as infinite, limited only by the degree necessary to accomplish the task at hand. If he needs to be stronger to save Eternia, he will be stronger. What sets He-Man apart from Kratos is his philosophy of combat. He does not kill his enemies. He seeks to neutralize and defeat without the need to destroy. This does not mean he is weak. On the contrary, it demonstrates extraordinary self-control. He possesses the power to annihilate, yet always chooses restraint. He-Man fights for his friends, for his kingdom, for innocent lives. In terms of weaponry, he wields the Sword of Power, a blade that is virtually indestructible, capable of absorbing and releasing magical energy, and even capable of changing form. His shield and cordite harness are crafted from cordite, the rarest mineral in Eternia, further amplifying his already extraordinary physical strength. He-Man also possesses a superhuman intellect. Upon transformation, Adam does not merely become stronger, he becomes wiser as well, capable of devising complex strategies and solving puzzles mid-combat. He was trained by Man-at-Arms, one of the greatest warriors and inventors Eternia has ever known. He-Man is the fusion of divine strength, heroic will, and tactical intelligence. The true limits of He-Man's power remain genuinely unknown. He has lifted and hurled Castle Grayskull hundreds of miles, a fortress estimated to weigh millions of tons. He pushed the moon of Eternia back into its proper orbit after Hordak knocked it off course, a feat demanding planetary-level force. He has punched through solid diamond, thrown objects beyond the atmosphere, and cracked the surface of Eternia several meters wide with a single punch. In battle, he routinely overpowers enormous monsters, mechanical constructs, and magical entities. Some sources even describe his strength as infinite. He is as strong as he needs to be in order to win. Despite being celebrated for his strength, He-Man is also extraordinarily agile. He can run at speeds fast enough to generate tornadoes, at minimum 400 miles per hour to achieve that effect. He has spun sand in his hands so rapidly that it was fused into glass. More impressively, he has spun his sword fast enough to generate lift and achieve flight. His reflexes allow him to dodge laser blasts and simultaneous attacks from multiple directions at once. He-Man is nearly invulnerable. He has withstood high-intensity laser explosions, massive boulders crashing down upon him, and direct attacks from Skeletor, a sorcerer of cosmic-level magical power without sustaining any harm whatsoever. His skin can resist conventional weapons as well as magical attacks. The Sword of Power is the centerpiece of his arsenal. It is not merely sharp. It can absorb energy, release torrents of magical force, and change form at will. His cordite harness multiplies his already immense physical strength even further. He-Man also possesses the ability to communicate telepathically with the Sorceress of Grayskull, allowing him to receive strategic guidance in the midst of battle. He-Man fights with the mindset of a protector, not a destroyer. He always seeks to neutralize his opponents without inflicting lethal damage. This means that in an ordinary confrontation, he holds back his true power. But when faced with a genuine threat, when Eternia or those he loves are in danger, there is no longer any limit to the power he will unleash. This is the moment two forces collide. On one side stands millennia of experience forged in blood and tragedy. On the other stands near limitless power granted by ancient magic. Both possess extraordinary feats. Kratos once withstood the crushing grip of Atlas the Titan, who holds the entire world, and snapped Hercules' neck. But He-Man pushed an entire moon back into its orbit. The gap between withstanding the grip of the one who holds the world and actively exerting force upon a celestial body is enormous. He-Man lifted Castle Grayskull and hurled it like a ball. His strength is described as infinite, capable of growing to meet any demand, while Kratos, despite being extraordinarily powerful, still has moments where he visibly strains against pure tests of strength. Advantage: He-Man. Kratos has dodged the lightning bolts of Zeus at close range, a weapon estimated to travel at relativistic speed. He also caught up to Hermes, the god of superhuman velocity. He-Man has generated tornadoes through running speed, 400 plus miles per hour, and spun his sword fast enough to achieve flight. However, the relativistic speed of Zeus's lightning far exceeds the sonic speeds He-Man has demonstrated. Kratos possesses faster combat reflexes in close quarters situations. Advantage: Kratos. Kratos survived being impaled by the blade of Olympus, falling from the peak of Olympus all the way down into the underworld, and escaping the realm of death 3 separate times. He has endured attacks from titans and supreme deities. He-Man is nearly invulnerable to conventional weapons and magic, but he has never had to face damage at the level of being killed and resurrecting himself. Kratos' capacity for survival goes far beyond simply taking hits. He cannot be held by the underworld itself. Advantage: Kratos. Combat skill. This is the single greatest differentiator. Kratos is a Spartan general, trained from childhood, who has slain countless monsters, heroes, demigods, gods, titans, and valkyries. He has fought continuously across centuries, facing every conceivable type of opponent and every conceivable type of weapon. He is proficient in swords, axes, bows, unarmed combat, and even magic. He-Man is also a talented warrior trained by men-at-arms, but the majority of his victories come from simply overpowering opponents with superior strength. He does not have the experience of contending with equals or those stronger than himself over prolonged engagements the way Kratos does. Advantage: Kratos. Decisively. Weaponry. He-Man possesses the Sword of Power, a versatile magical blade, but Kratos wields an entire arsenal. The Blades of Chaos, Fire, the Leviathan Axe, the Blade of Olympus, Divine Damage, along with abilities such as Medusa's Head and Spartan Rage. This diversity allows him to adapt to any combat scenario. Advantage: Kratos. He-Man fights for a righteous cause and always holds back to avoid killing his opponents. Kratos fights to survive and to destroy. In a battle to the death, Kratos will do absolutely anything to win, including the most brutal methods imaginable. He has no concept of mercy. He-Man will spend precious moments recognizing that he is facing a truly genuine threat, and in that moment of hesitation, Kratos will have already unleashed a killing blow: the battle. He-Man raises the Sword of Power, and magical light from Grayskull floods the battlefield. He charges forward with a punch capable of shattering mountains. Kratos blocks with the Leviathan Axe, feeling the terrifying force transmitted through the handle, one of the most powerful strikes he has ever absorbed, on par with the blows of Thor. But Kratos does not yield. He is accustomed to facing those stronger than himself. He counters with the Blades of Chaos, the burning chains wrapping around He-Man's sword. He-Man uses his boundless strength to tear the chains apart and sends Kratos flying dozens of meters. But Kratos gets back up. He has gotten back up from far worse. Activating Spartan Rage, Kratos becomes a storm of destruction. He launches himself at He-Man with a speed the champion never anticipated, raining down blows in rapid succession. He-Man, though nearly invulnerable, feels the weight behind every strike from the man who killed Hercules. This is where Kratos' experience proves decisive. He recognizes that He-Man is too powerful to defeat through brute force alone. So he shifts to tactics, using the Blades of Chaos to control distance, harassing with the Leviathan Axe, and waiting for an opening. He-Man, in his effort to end the fight quickly, exposes a brief moment of vulnerability. And Kratos, the one who killed the Sisters of Fate, does not let a single moment pass. He draws the Blade of Olympus, the sword that brought down the Titans and Zeus himself, and drives it straight into a gap in the Korodite armor. He-Man falls, not because he is weaker, but because he faced someone who has no limits when it comes to brutality, millennia of experience, a diverse arsenal, and an unbreakable will tip the scales in favor of the Ghost of Sparta. This is one of the most evenly matched battles we have ever analyzed. He-Man possesses near infinite physical strength that could surpass Kratos in terms of raw power. He is a true heroic icon, capable of lifting moons and hurling castles. But war is not merely a contest of muscles. It is a contest of will, experience, adaptability, and ruthlessness. And in those dimensions, Kratos wins. The reason is not about who is stronger. He-Man may well be stronger, but Kratos has spent his entire existence killing those who are stronger than him. He killed Ares while still immortal. He killed Zeus after being stripped of his divine power. He killed the Sisters of Fate entities who controlled reality itself. He died 3 times and came back each time. He-Man has never faced anyone like Kratos, someone with no moral boundary, no mercy, and no capacity to stop. While He-Man seeks to neutralize his opponent, Kratos seeks to end him. That moment of hesitation, even just 1 second, is enough for the blade of Olympus to find its mark. He-Man is the most powerful man in the universe. But Kratos is the one who survived the death of that very universe. And that is our analysis of the battle between the Ghost of Sparta and the most powerful man in the universe. A clash of boundless strength against undying will. But this is only one perspective. What do you think? Could He-Man unleash the full power of Grayskull before Kratos lands the killing blow?
Let us know your thoughts by leaving a comment down below. If you enjoy these Ultimate Showdowns, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another legendary battle. And remember to follow us. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you again in the next battle.